So with a lot of rumors that the next Kombat pack for Mortal Kombat 1 has been cancelled, it's led to a lot of people wondering what the next game is actually going to be. And in today's video, I'm going to be talking about not what I think it will be, but what I personally think it should be. And that is a remaster of every Mortal Kombat game, at least the main entries. And I know that's going to sound really crazy, but I'm going to sort of talk about how I think it could work, how they could do it. And it's going to seem a little unrealistic, but I'm going to try to justify how this could possibly happen, or at least mention a few games. Like maybe they won't remaster all of them, but still, I think it's an interesting topic. So let me know your thoughts on it. Let me know if you think I'm being unrealistic. I mean, at the end of the day, they are owned by Warner Bros, so they probably can't do these things that I'm going to mention, but it is just a fun speculation video. So let me know your thoughts. I'd love to have a discussion in the comment section, but let's get into the video. So how could they actually do this? Well, let's talk about an easier option, which in my opinion would be actually doing just like a port of at least the more recent games. So MK9 is my personal favorite Mortal Kombat game. I don't want to speak for everyone, but me personally, graphics don't really make a game. For today's standards, yeah, MK9 doesn't look amazing, but even if they just ported it over, that would be perfectly fine. Now, I am aware that the game is available if you have the most recent Xbox. I forgot the actual name of it, Series X or whatever. I'm pretty sure you can actually play MK9 on that if you had a disc from the 360. However, that's not an option on the PS5 for some reason, which is very annoying, but I would love to actually see the game be ported over. And look, again, that would be fine with me. I wouldn't mind paying a little bit for it, nothing too crazy, but I think that it should be put up on the store, but a bit cheaper, unless they actually remaster, in which case, I mean, they would probably sell it at full price, let's be honest. But I think that would be a really fun idea. MK9 is a lot of people's favorite, and the fact that it's pretty inaccessible is sort of nuts. And that's something I also want to talk about. Basically, every single game that isn't like the last three, so X, 11, and 1, is basically impossible to play. So the first three, I believe, are available on like an arcade 1-up machine and probably on some like illegal websites and stuff. But that's really it. And I think they're on like GOG or whatever it's called, like Good Old Games or whatever it's called. And then MK4 I think is on that website as well. But then Deadly Alliance, Deception, Armageddon, they're basically impossible to play because they're all, I believe, just on the PS2, unless you have like some other like handheld device or something I think they were on. And then versus DC, that is just on the 360, and same goes for MK9 as well. And I believe you can actually play versus DC on Xbox Series X through backwards compatibility and stuff like that. But still, it's really hard to play these games, even though I would argue Mortal Kombat is potentially the biggest fighting game of all time. You could definitely say Street Fighter, but I mean, to me, obviously I cover it on this channel, so for me, Mortal Kombat is the biggest fighting game out there, but Street Fighter is definitely arguably the biggest as well. But still, I find it really weird because I don't think other fighting games are this bad at sort of reserving it and actually, you know, looking after their old games. Mortal Kombat just seems to, it's very different to the other fighting games where they'll support the game for a few years, you know, give you a bunch of DLC, and then they move on to the next one. Mortal Kombat really gets supported for like a year, like it did with the last game, MK11, or about 2 years really, and then they move on. They don't really support a game for a decade or half a decade. They move on relatively quickly, and I'm assuming that is just because of Warner Bros, because they want to get more money, so they have to make more games. That's just my guess, but I think it's a pretty, you know, decent one. But I think it's just a bit strange really, and my actual idea, and you know, that's the main point of this video, let's actually discuss it now. So first of all, I think after MK1 is done, whether that is, you know, this year when they stop adding content, depending if that leak ends up being true, of course, or the next year, I would then go and start remaking the first 3 games. Personally, I really don't care about remasters. If they just put every single old Mortal Kombat game on the PS5 for a cheap price, I would buy it, but people won't agree with that. They want a remaster, so remastering the original 3 games, which I believe they actually at some point were working on a remaster for the first game at least, but it got cancelled. Just make the other 2 look like that and put them in like a bundle, maybe sell it for, I don't know, I'm not too sure how much it could cost, I'm going to just be going off Australian dollars because that's where I live. A new game is usually around $100. So because it's like a remaster of 3 sort of very old, simple games, I would say maybe like $30, $25 AUD, which isn't, very expensive at all. I think that would be decently fair, especially if they added in any new features, which I assume they wouldn't, but it would be nice to play those games on controllers that aren't really, clunky, because I've played those 3 on the Sega, and that isn't, well, they're very unresponsive, so it'd be nice to have a responsive option, I suppose. MK4 was a difficult one because I don't think many people really love that game. There's nothing wrong with it, of course. It is my least favorite Mortal Kombat game in terms of the main entries, but I'm sure there would be, some way that, that could work, and, some way that it could get ported over. It could be included as like an arcade sort of thing, like an arcade bundle with 4 games. Then they could make a separate bundle, which is the 3D era, so Deadly Alliance to DCU. Sell that as like a package of 4 as well. That would be a bit more work because that's 4 games that are much better graphically, but they'll be updating them anyway, so I'm not too sure how much this would cost, but it wouldn't be too much because they are older games. And then of course MK9 would just be sold separately. I think that this could work if they do it in between sort of bigger projects. So like, for example, remastering the first 3 games, I don't think that'll be as much work as making an entirely new game. So what I personally would do is when MK1 is done, or even before if they can, start working on those 3 remasters and then release them in potentially like 2027. And then because they won't be adding DLC because these are just older games, they can put those out, start working on the next game. So it would take a really long time for them to come out. But for instance, say they do MK9 first. I don't think they need to remaster it, but they probably would. So put that out on, current platforms in, 2026, as I said, except not for MK, the original trilogy, just for MK9. Then put out a new game in like 2029. And then while you're supporting that one, have like a separate team. I know they're a smaller team, so maybe hire more employees or get a separate like company to work on it and get like a remaster of MK1, 2, 3 and 4 would be out by then. That would probably be at like 2028, 2029, and then have them go through and do the 3D trilogy as well to have all the remasters and all the games available on modern platforms by like 2032. Like, I know that's still a really long time away, but still, you'd be getting like a remaster and new games in between. So like NetherRealm could work on Mortal Kombat 13, 12, whatever it's called, or a spin-off sort of game like Shaolin Monks type game, or Injustice 3, whatever they want to do. But a separate studio could be off making these remasters, and hopefully they would actually turn out good. I know that there's a lot of bad things that have happened in the future, when main companies get little side companies to work on bigger projects like this, but I think it'd be worth it as long as they find the right company to do it. But let me know, what do you think? Because I think this would be a really fun thing to experience, really, because I know a lot of us really love these games, but they're really hard to play for some reason. So I would love to see them shown a bit more respect and get a bigger player base, because it'd be really fun to hop on games like Deception again and be able to actually play against people online. So let me know what you think. But I hope you enjoyed the video. Consider subscribing if you are a big fan of Mortal Kombat and you want to see the games be preserved and actually be able to be played on current platforms. Thank you for watching, and I hope you have a great day.